Welcome to today's explainer briefing. We are going to methodically open the case file of 2-year-old Octavia Pearl Boney. Today, we're stepping into the shoes of the lead investigators to view the entire scope of what is, quite frankly, a chilling tragedy. We'll be using the actual physical and digital evidence collected by detectives to dismantle a very complex web of lies. So let's dive right in and look at the facts exactly as they unfolded.
To keep things organized, our investigation is structured into 6 precise phases. 1. The initial 911 call. 2. Alibis and family suspicions. 3. Forensic and physical evidence. 4. Unlocking the digital trail. 5. Interrogation and psychological shift. And finally, 6. Final charges and sentencing. All right, let's move to phase 1 and see exactly how this case began.
Phase 1. The initial 911 call. Early afternoon, November 7th, 2024.
It started when dispatchers in Sturgis Township, Michigan, received a panicked 911 call from a 21-year-old mother, Paige Nicole Boney, reporting her 2-year-old daughter was not breathing. First responders rushed over. A deputy and paramedics performed relentless CPR on the toddler for nearly 45 minutes. But despite their absolute best efforts, she couldn't be saved. Octavia was officially pronounced deceased at exactly 13:37 military time, or 1:37 p.m. And literally from that exact minute, the death investigation was wide open. Right away, detectives on the scene noted a massive, glaring contradiction. Paige's initial statement suggested that Octavia, who frequently slept on the living room couch, must have accidentally suffocated after tucking her head into a blanket. But Paige's Uncle Chris, who was right there at the home, reported hearing Paige physically disciplining the child with a spanking, followed by 10 solid minutes of crying earlier that morning. You see the problem here, right? Accidental suffocation on a familiar couch simply doesn't align with the morning's physical commotion. Moving to phase 2. Alibis and family suspicions, examining the living situation. As technicians locked down the crime scene, investigators started looking really closely at the dynamics of the household. Paige and her 31-year-old boyfriend, Frederick Lee Nelson, who, it's worth noting, is not Octavia's biological father, had recently moved in after being kicked out of Paige's parents' house. They were sleeping on an air mattress in the exact same living room where Octavia was found. And we didn't just look at the physical space, we looked at the history of care. Emotional testimony from Octavia's grandparents and her Aunt Tabitha painted a deeply disturbing picture of severe neglect. Listen to this consistency in the family's alarm. They detailed bleeding diaper rashes, a lack of basic clothing, cold sores, noting that Paige rarely took care of her daughter. But while family suspicions provide absolutely crucial context, you can't file criminal charges without hard facts. Which brings us to phase 3, forensic and physical evidence. The crime scene speaks, and detectives must listen. Let's review the physical forensics collected right there in that living room. What the evidence techs uncovered was a chilling scene that entirely contradicted a simple, peaceful accident. This brilliantly illustrates the power of forensic science. They found a fresh impact crater in the drywall, exactly 3 feet high. Forensics confirmed this was the exact standing height of the toddler, and worse, embedded right there in that dent was the victim's hair, and a white drywall-like substance was found in Octavia's hair. Furthermore, bloodstains were discovered on multiple pillows and both couches. The physical environment itself was violent. And you know, the victim's body always tells the final truth. The suspect claimed accidental suffocation, but the official autopsy report completely destroyed Paige's alibi. The medical examiner found bruising on the right side of the child's face and ear, marks on her neck consistent with applied force, and most devastatingly of all, Paige's dark brown hair clutched tightly in young Octavia's hand. Based on these irrefutable physical findings, the medical examiner officially ruled the 2-year-old's death a homicide. The specific cause? Mechanical asphyxiation and smothering. This was no accident. It was a physical, forceful murder. Phase 4, unlocking the digital trail, extracting the truth. So we have a murdered child and a mother lying about it. To understand how we get from a suspicious death to formal murder charges against 2 people, we have to look at how investigators tore through the suspect's digital footprint. And the sequence of events is pretty much a masterclass in modern investigative work. Detectives had seized Paige's phone, but they needed the passcode. So they monitored a standard recorded jailhouse phone call between Paige and Fred. During this call, Fred foolishly brings up deleting messages. And in a critical, massive misstep, Paige just freely speaks her passcode out loud over the recorded line.
our forensic technicians immediately took that, unlocked the device, and ran data extraction software to pull manually deleted text messages from the morning of the murder.
What they recovered anchored the entire investigation, establishing a horrifying minute-by-minute timeline. Fred leaves for work at 5:30 a.m. By 6:02 a.m., he's remotely texting Paige instructions to put something in her mouth to quiet the child down. At 6:17 a.m., Paige sends an audio recording of Octavia crying. And at 8:59 a.m., Paige sends a final damning confirmation. Take a look at the exact transcript of that exchange. At 8:59 a.m., Paige texted her frustration, threatening physical harm, saying, "I'ma fuck her up. I'm pissed, bro. I'ma hurt her. I'm done with it." Fred replied, quote, "Do it. Beat her." And Paige responded, "I did." This irrefutable text exchange shattered the very last remnants of their initial accidental death alibi. It proved intent, it proved encouragement, and it proved action. Phase 5. Interrogation and the psychological shift. Confronting the suspect. Armed with both the physical autopsy findings from Phase 3 and those undeniable digital records from Phase 4, detectives brought Paige back into the interrogation room to confront her with the hard facts. This follow-up interview happened 9 months after the murder under what's called a proffer agreement. This is basically a legal framework that allows a suspect to speak to investigators with limited protections, usually to try and secure a plea deal. Paige was now desperately attempting to shift the blame entirely to save herself from a full murder trial. The psychological shift in that interrogation room was staggering. I mean, from cool, calm deflection on day 1, Paige was now claiming she was a victim of Fred's abuse. She told detectives she only texted "I did" because she was absolutely terrified of Fred's violent outbursts and was just telling him what he wanted to hear. Furthermore, she claimed she had completely amnesic blocks about the actual physical murder, conveniently forgetting everything she did to her own daughter. But our lead detective clinically, brilliantly shut this manipulation down. Paige wanted investigators to believe she was an abused victim who falsely confessed via text out of fear. But the detective pointed out a fatal flaw in her logic. You can't falsely text about a murder when the autopsy literally proved the child died exactly the way the text described. The physical evidence matched the digital confession perfectly. You just can't dance around the science. Phase 6. Final charges and sentencing. Closing the file.
The undeniable weight of the forensic and digital evidence forced the legal outcomes we see at the conclusion of this case file. Let's look at how the justice system processed these findings. Facing an overwhelming mountain of evidence, Paige Nicole Boney took a plea deal. The original open murder charges were dismissed, and instead, she pleaded no contest to first-degree child abuse and assault. Because of the sheer brutality documented by those forensics, this plea deal still resulted in a massive sentence, 18.75 to 45 years in prison. The system ensured she was locked away.
Meanwhile, that digital evidence extraction, those recovered deleted texts, directly led to very severe charges against the boyfriend, Frederick Lee Nelson. He is currently facing homicide, felony murder by aiding and abetting, tampering with evidence, and assault by strangulation, amplified by a habitual offender enhancement. His digital encouragement to harm the child was enough to hold him legally responsible for her murder. He awaits his trial in April 2026. As we wrap up this explainer briefing, we are really left to ponder the dark psychology of this case. When confronted with irrefutable science and digital footprints, a suspect claimed total memory loss. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is claimed amnesia a true psychological trauma response, or is it just the ultimate desperate manipulation of a cornered killer who realizes they've finally been caught? Thank you for joining me to break down this case file. Keep asking questions and always follow the evidence.